Hello, Algebra 1 Semester 2 Final Review students. We're back to problem 11 here, which comes from lesson 6.8 if you need a refresher. We've done the average rate of change on and off all year now, but it is okay if it doesn't make sense to you yet. We're going to understand that today. So here's the idea. General graph first. You don't actually need the graph, but I think it helps to understand what's happening. We have an a times b to the x power situation, so I'm going to call this 7, which is our y-intercept, and then we multiply by 3 every time, which tells us that our graph, if my screen would stay still, tells us that our graph looks something like this, right? We have that nice little exponential curve. Okay. From here, they're asking us the average rate of change between 2 and 5. Now this graph is curved. It does not have a constant steepness like a line, which means right here is less steep than up here, which is why they didn't ask us what is the steepness between those 2 points. They asked us the average steepness. And the way we find an average rate of change is we find the slope between these 2 points. And it turns out, and it's a bit more of a calculus concept, but it turns out that when we do the slope formula between 2 points, it gives us the average slope between them. All right, so how do we set this up? Well, I mentioned slope, and so you can think of this as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The first thing I do when I'm trying to find the slope is I want to list my 2 points. So I have 2 points here, 2 comma something and 5 comma something. And I don't know what those somethings are. Right? And this is why sometimes you might see this slope formula written as the y values in terms of function notation. So they might write this as f of 5 minus f of 2 divided by 5 minus 2. That is the more common way you see the slope formula going on into the future. All that means, though, is find the y values for the given x values. So we should probably find those y values, huh? F of x equals 7 times 3 to the x. I'm going to write that down here. I'll use y just in case. I don't want anyone getting confused. Okay, so the first one I'm going to find is when x is 2. So 7 times 3 to the second power. Becomes 7 times 9, and 7 times 9 is 63. Now, I did this one without my calculator. You could have, of course, substituted all of that into your calculator. And in fact, although my 3 to a powers are pretty good, I'm going to do the next one with a calculator. My next one is going to be for 5, so y equals 7 times 3 to the 5th power, and I'm not quite sure what that is, so we're going to go ahead and use our calculator and type it in. Right? So we have y equals 7, this always gets in the way, times 3, and then you'll need your power button. Don't forget on yours, your power button looks like this, right? So 7 times 3 to the 5th power. And that tells me it's 1701. Okay, well I can do that. 1701. And I think we're ready for our slope formula now. Our slope formula is going to give us, well, what do we want to use for y2, y1? We put the 5 first, so let's go ahead and use this for y2, x2, y1, x1. And remember, the order doesn't matter. Just whatever you pick for y1, x1 is its partner. Same thing for y2. So 1701 is my y2. My y1 is 63 divided by 5 minus 2. Again, this is probably something you're going to want to use your calculator on, 1701 minus 63. I would suggest you do it in steps, though. Oops, let's clear all that. 701 minus 63. So again, doing this in steps here so that we don't excuse me, so that we don't screw something up and you don't say divided by like 3. That wouldn't be right. Notice the 3 isn't dividing to everything. So we get 1638. I'm going to hit enter so I remember it. 1638. If I add these together, 11, 17, 18, 3 goes nicely into this. I'll try some mental math here. You could do this on your calculator, of course. 3 goes into 16 5 times with 1 left over. 3 goes into 13 4 times with 1 left over. 3 goes into 18 6 times. I'm getting 546. If we look up above, It says it's 549, so I probably did some math incorrectly somewhere. Awkward. 1701 minus 63, let's double check that. Yep, that looks good. Then I wanted to divide 1638 by 3. I'm getting 546, so I wonder if I just maybe mistyped this and it's supposed to be 546 instead of 549. So I'm going to assume it is because we did everything pretty much right, and we'll pretend that's a 6. Smiley face. All right, thank you for tuning in. Average rate of change, just find the slope of the two endpoints that are given to you. How did I know to use those two endpoints? Well, they were in the interval up here, weren't they? Thanks, and keep being successful.